So another point, looking at God's creation and asking ourselves, why did God create diversity? There's multiple ways to look at this, but one way I suggest we look at it this evening is from the perspective of the human physical body, because in terms of functionality, the human physical body is designed with purpose, like a functional system that is supposed to have all its parts for it to be functional. So from that perspective, it is beneficial that all the human physical bodies are the same, because they all have the same functionality and they all have to be functional. So where does diversity come into this picture? Is where God created deformities, physical deformities, basically because He allowed children to be born with complete physical deformations and that are unable to live an effective life because of that. So that is something that must be taken into consideration when being grateful to God. Another point, another example is of diversity is where God created different blood types, because in relation to the blood types comes the point of meat eating. Now certain people are able, due to their physical constitution and also relating to the blood type, is what the research is showing currently, is that due to the blood type they are able to stop eating meat very easily, meaning their body is not programmed with a requirement for meat to sustain their physical body and their muscle tissue specifically, whereas that is different with the other blood types, where they will require certain meat ingestion to support their physical body to the maximum capacity potential. Now what comes with this programming, if you want to call it that, is that obviously, okay, now you have some people that are blessed, one could say, with not having the requirement to eat meat, while others are actually programmed to have the requirement for meat. Now what this brings is the requirement to basically slaughter animals for meat. So God made a very deliberate decision here, I would suggest, where He basically had the choice to, there was no requirement for humans to eat meat, but He was like, that would make it more spicy, that would make it more, because God is like, He will not, He will basically take any opportunity He can to further abuse, basically. So that's like who He is, and He will simply take any opportunity to create more abuse. So, because it's very fascinating, you really have to look a bit with common sense at the whole question of meat eating, the physical body, meat eaters, vegetarians, and also in the animal kingdom, the animals that eat meat and the animals that are able to not eat meat. Now you have to look at some of the mammals, such as horses, who are like, fuck, incredibly strong and don't eat meat. Now I would say that a horse is on average 4 times as strong as a human being, yet they don't require meat. So obviously there is like fucked up programming in play, where a human is programmed to require meat, and as the example of these strong mammals shows, there is no actual correlation between the requirement for meat and any form of physical strength or benefit. So yeah, this is just to place God's character into perspective. I'm just looking at the point objectively and assessing what kind of being God really is. when considering how he created this reality, how far he went, to what extent he went to make sure there would be such requirement for slavery, because that's what he created. I mean, as soon as the requirement for meat was built into the physical body, there was a requirement for slavery in regards to the animal kingdom, because without humans enslaving the animals, no way they can survive. So God, he's really the, what is it called? The most disgusting abuser imaginable, basically. So that's something to take into consideration. Thanks, is Gabriel.